I do not have time for you!
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for your patience as we were figuring out stuff backstage. This is Sprints and Shoptalk, which is another Trumbull Wednesday tradition in which I will be trying to focus on a very specific topic and asking questions to my co-hosts and to everybody in the chat. How's everybody doing today, Stieg?
I am all the better now that I'm here with you guys.
Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a little bit tired. The blueberry got his snip on his blueberries yesterday. So
that is not an appropriate metaphor for testicles. Take that back, please.
No.
I rebuke.
So he's a little tired. He's laying under my desk right now, and I'm just making sure that he doesn't lick his stitches. So I'll be trying to be vigilant with that. But otherwise,
how's he
good?
Is he okay? How's he been doing with it all?
Oh, he's doing great. He was really tired last night or yesterday when we brought him home. So we laid in my lap for a while, which was lovely. I love having puppy snuggles.
Yeah.
And he had the cone on and he tried to lick, and we were like, no, sir. And
it's given Stitches by Shawn Mendes.
Oh,
I don't know that song.
It's been a while since I've heard that.
I'll be getting stitches. Meet me at the Zeta. But it's like licking stitches instead of getting stitches.
Oh my.
He's trying to lick stitches. He's a licker. We knew this would happen. With our other dogs, they were fine because they're not lickers. But Blue, man is a licker. He licks everything.
I don't know. Something about the word lick gives me the ick.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, sorry. That was not meant to be a criticism.
It's like, I don't know how else to describe him.
Yeah. Devesha, I know you're muted. Can you say how you are?
Hi. I am here.
Still in bed.
Horizontal.
I woke up at 9:54. But then you have the 5 minutes of just internet scrolling.
Yeah.
So I truly didn't open my eyes and achieve consciousness until 9:59.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm doing well. I'm a little bit jet lagged. I just got back from yet another trip. It's endless. I was in London, and actually I got to hang out with Mullen and Marta. So that was super fun. And maybe today, we should all say what we're working on. Maybe today I will be working on compiling all that footage into a general London vlog. Although I realize, as I say this, I only took B-roll. There is no actual vlogging. There's no me talking to the camera. Not once. It's just B-roll. So it might be a very, Mullen, some things can stay between friends. I was so tipsy, in fact, that I almost posted about it in the Discord while I was tipsy. I almost was going to be like,
oh, that's a slippery slope.
Drunk. But I had enough strength of mind to prevent that. Yeah. She got me drunk off of one glass of wine. She's a lightweight.
That's all it takes.
Not in the past, but something, I don't know. And we had just had a whole thing of ramen and stuff. So it's not like I had an empty stomach. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I was really feeling that wine.
Are you going to just do a vibe B-roll vlog with London Boy as a soundtrack or something?
Oh no. I mean, this is what I've noticed. When I'm watching travel vlogs and it's a lot of B-roll footage, I appreciate when there's somebody saying, this is what we're doing in this scene. Like if it's a picture of someone going to market, obviously I know that, but I like hearing their voice about it and maybe giving little anecdotes about things that weren't even filmed. So that way it's more engaging than just watching footage with music over it. So I think I'm gonna rewatch my last England vlog where I went to that conference in Weymouth. And I think I will
Is that the persuasion thumbnail?
Oh, the one where I'm on the beach.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will rewatch that vlog and then kind of model, because I think that one was similar. I think I only vlogged in a couple of clips in that one. So I was going to originally do daily vlogs at Devesha and Katie's request, but
here we are.
Oops.
Didn't have.
Not have a kitty grumbled.
I mean, I have footage from every single day. Let me be clear, but I don't have enough footage from every day to make doing daily vlogs worth it, because I was never alone enough to like make vlogging feel appropriate, you know? I was sharing a room with someone. I was walking around the city with people, which, you know, don't want to be walking around London and being like, da, 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 even though I totally did that in Paris in 2019. So yeah, it's just going to be a different monster. It's fine. Let's say hi to people who are here. It's Ava. It's Kelly. It's Sayla. It's Mullen. It's Anna. Yeah. Anna is complimenting the thumbnail. I'm pretty sure this is a Laura original. Laura Nichols original. Cannot believe people are asking for Sprint already. What the hell?
We didn't even start.
Yeah.
We haven't even started.
Hi, Flora. Hello, Neon Moon. You were early. We were not all still waking up. We were just dealing with some stuff behind the scenes, but it's all good. Hello, Laura. Thank you again for your contribution to today's stream by making the thumbnail. Wendy says,
That's got to be our smartest business move ever, hosting that
so
competition.
true. So true. First of all, the stream where we ranked all the thumbnails was super fun, but then yes, like asking people to outsourcing. So smart. Wendy says, hello all, good, barely awake to anyone in the same time zone as me. Yep. Oh, bye. Apparently, yeah, we were still waking up, except not. We were all here. What?
Technical difficulties spreading like wildfire. First before the words goes down, and now the troublemakers are late.
Also, Neomoon totally gave me the context. I, for some reason, was reading this as tuberculosis.
Oh.
That's TB.
I know. It's the jet lag. I'm so glad I get to use that excuse again for another week.
Oh, Wallace,
What
have
is
you
for the
seen that
words?
clip? Have you seen that
About-
clip of Taylor being
Okay,
like, jet lag is a choice?
She has a different traveling experience than I do, you know? Like, hop on a plane and immediately lie in bed. You know, she's on a private jet. Like, good for her, but you know, that's not how it is. I'm in a seat and I'm like leaning my head up against the person in front of me, and I'm like, folding my jacket into a makeshift pillow to try and get comfortable. Although yesterday on my flight back, I was in a window seat and there was a man initially sitting next to me, but then the whole 5-seat middle row was totally empty. So then he switched over to that. So then I got that seat right next to me. So I was able to put my legs up. It was great.
Sounds fabulous.
Great. Caitlin is here. Hello. Yes, the besties are here today. I know I completely forgotten it was a Wednesday, so I had all these things I was going to do today. And then when I woke up at 5 this morning, I saw all of them being like, whose stream is it today? And I was like, oh, it's mine. And this means all my plans are canceled and I'm hanging with my buddies all day. I'm so excited. Let's guess. Hey now, boy Jesus, you're the good house.
Or just a cat on the keyboard.
Oh.
Mhm.
Oh. Okay.
I like yours better though. I would like to think that that's what Char Char said.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the boy Jesus of it all.
That's not where my brain was, but I love it.
Where was your brain?
DJ.
Where's yours? Could it be anywhere else?
Could someone make one of those memes where it's like how people read something in two different ways, and it's like the lady and the cat, and for me it's boy Jesus and Katie. Anyway, people are giving some love to Blue.
Yeah, blueberry.
Oop, Ava is preheating the oven for some fries. Excellent.
Delish.
Edgar had to have the double cone and donut, and he still managed to get rid of both in one night. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Nina is here. Hello. I know. I was really running wild through the streets of London. Oh, how are the frog legs? It was good. We got ramen and it was delicious. I know Tipsy Posty would have been fun. That's the danger about Discord, is that I don't really consider Discord the internet, which is so incorrect. But I'm sort of like, I can put this here. It's private, even though it is completely not.
You and your 300
close.
close personal friends.
It's just a really big group chat, you know? I'm with you,
Right?
Wallace.
That's how I feel like it is. Anyway. Sorry, this was not me trying to diss it. It was more about just my personal choice for my style of vlogging.
Drag her, slay her.
Do better, Mullen, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, fine, guys. Jesus.
No
It is
rats. Get
10
out of
minutes
here.
Yeah, I know technically it's 20 minutes into what is our time slot, but Kelly, give me a second. I mean,
This
you
is
give
sprints
me-
and shop talk, y'all. We're not really sprinting.
well,
We're
we
shop
are.
talking.
Okay. I came up. Okay, first of all, Stieg had a totally inspired idea for today's Sprints and Shop Talk that I am going to take, but I think it is something that deserves a little bit of research on my part. And I want to give credit where credit is due. Stieg has decided at some point we should revisit a really old Sprints and Shop Talk idea. And I was like, oh, yeah, we could totally do that today. But what I want to do is I want to go back and watch everybody's answers and then like record those answers so that way we can compare how we've changed. And I just didn't have time to do that this morning. So
God, it's going to be like, so how do you feel about this thing now, Katie? And Katie's like, oh, I love it. And then we'll just insert clip here. Katie's like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it feels like entrapment. I'm gonna put this on blast.
I have the right to
It's
change
like
my
we're
mind.
being gaslit, gatekept, girl boss.
no, it is to show personal growth. There is a difference.
Or
Or
regression.
yes, so true.
Hmm.
With us, it's a toss-up, right?
It's truly
never
a coin
know.
flip.
It's a weighted coin towards regression, let's be honest.
Dealer's choice, honestly. Is it progress? Is it regression? Who knows?
Yeah. Oh my
You
gosh.
you decide.
Where are my sneezies? My tissues is the word. I don't know. They're not. Normally I have some right here.
Is that what they call them in Britain or something?
Like,
Are you that one girl who goes on a
because
trip
I
for
had
like
to
a
sneeze.
week and you're like, oh, how was Denmark? Denmark was beautiful.
Or I get back and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a call on my mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna go down to the garage today.
Yes. But today we are instead kind of going along with the fanfic February theme. And I know we've talked a lot about fan fiction in the past. In fact, this might be a Sprints and Shop Talk revisited, and I'm not even aware.
It might be. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a revisiting of this topic.
I'm sure. I mean, it very well could be, but it was not intentional. I just felt like it's the month, 'tis the season. But because of that, I'm going to give everybody a preview to what the questions are so people can like be thinking about it during the sprints. But do not answer them until asked, right? Like,
Gotcha.
I don't want to bog down the comments. But so we have a Q0, which we're actually going to do before the first sprint because it should be pretty quick. Because I think it's stuff most people know about each other, but it's just like for refreshing our memories. And then the Q1 is going to be what fanfic tropes are your guilty pleasure? What is a fanfic that has stayed in your mind for years? And does it have the tropes you love? And I want you to have that so you can think about what fanfics you love. Or not you love, but maybe that has haunted you. Anyway, question 2 is what is your favorite example of a fanfic turned original published work? And do you have any thoughts about the recent trend of this in publishing? And then if we get to it, question 3 is how do you approach writing fanfiction and how does that differ from your approach to writing original characters / world? All right, so we're going to start with Q0, which is just as a refresher, what fandoms do you typically write in / read in?
Dox yourself.
It's question 0 now.
Yes, it's now.
Okay. What I don't know. I don't feel like I typically write fan fiction, but what I have written in is like queer, like teenage shows, basically.
But like Norwegian, right?
Norwegian scum. I did a lot. I've also done. Well, everyone's done Harry Potter. That's like your go-to starter, right?
I've never written Harry Potter fan fiction.
Well, then I guess you're just a better person than me.
No,
Congratulations.
that's not what I meant. Steve, come on.
And also RPF fiction, which I'm like morally confused. Not morally confused. Morally ambiguous about. Ambivalent, maybe not ambiguous. About but One Direction fan fiction, basically. But it feels like I know it's RPF, but it feels like fiction in my brain, which I think. But like, is that just me kind of, giving myself the green light to go, or is it just am I gaslighting myself basically? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so mainly Norwegian teenage shows and potentially RPF One Direction.
Not potentially. I have written RPF One Direction fiction.
I was trying to give you plausible deniability.
Oh,
here's my question.
I plead the fifth.
Here's my question. Were you part of the micro trend of One Direction meets The Purge?
No.
Okay.
And I've also never written a self-insert. It's always like between band members, which is arguably weirder. But here we are.
know. Yeah, I don't know. Katie?
I played the fifth. I'm kidding.
That was my joke. Come up with some original content.
Already, you just.
Katie, I'm sorry. I do not know why you're playing coy.
As if this is not the worst kept secret in the community.
What's this about you?
I know. Fandoms I've typically written in are often sports RPF. There we go.
Yep.
From anything from hockey to tennis to Formula One. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I also have written Marvel fan fiction as well. I've written a couple of those. 2, 3.
Who can forget?
I can't remember those. And then what else do I? Yeah, so I mostly I read the same things I write. So it depends on what hyperfixation I am in at the moment. That's what I tend to steer into readings. Like when I was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was reading a lot of Falcon and the Winter Soldier fanfic. You know, when I'm in my hyperfixation, I'm probably also reading fanfic about it. So
got it.
There you go.
Tossing the question back to you because I don't think you said what you read in.
Oh, ironically, I don't read a lot of fanfic. I just read what is presented to me. So some sports fanfic I've read, and not much else.
And
really.
would you say that? Okay. Would you say?
I probably wouldn't say that, Wallace, when you put it like that. But go on, hit me.
No, sorry. I was just reflecting on something you said earlier. How often do you read fan fiction these days, as opposed to when you were younger?
I probably have not read since the incident.
Okay.
Sorry, what is the incident?
Okay.
The drunken live stream.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't read a lot. Well, I don't read, period. So I also don't read a lot of,
That's fair.
What is the opposite of fan fiction? Star fiction? I don't know. But
what?
what is the opposite of fan fiction? Star fiction. Fan, a star, the celebrity.
Okay.
Never mind.
Oh, you don't like that. Who did not like that.
Confused by this.
He's had his blueberries removed. What does he know?
He's on painkiller. Leave him alone.
But if you write RPF, Katie, and I say if, so you can also get some plausible deniability. Do you feel like it's like fictional characters, or are you like aware that they're real people?
Honestly, it does feel like fictional characters to me.
Right? Again,
it
just
is
validating each other. I like this.
It
Toxic
is
reinforcement.
really, really strange because it does. I know it's a very kind of controversial thing of writing RPF, but okay, 20 of our closest personal friends.
Yeah.
Cruel Summer, if you didn't know, is originally RPF fan fiction, and it was so easy to file off the serial numbers because they felt like characters already.
Yeah.
I was just it's like taking a face claim. So if you write a book, and you have an actor in mind for who that person is, that's what it feels like. Because I'm not sitting here being yeah, I'm writing about these people's real lives. No, it's not a biography. No way. I don't believe that at all. It feels very much like they are fictional characters, and I am just I love sports, so I'm going to write about sports time, and it doesn't feel any different than if I had written original characters doing sports, which Cruel Summer has transformed to be completely original characters who are so divorced from their original that
absolutely.
If you don't know already,
you
probably won't figure it out.
Which this will go into a later point actually, but I have such a big argument for that most fan fiction is original work, just wearing a costume, but whatever. Devisha.
Yes. Okay. I don't typically write any fan fiction. So I'm the opposite of Stieg. I read a lot of it, but I typically don't write any of it. Yes, sir. You don't need to say anything that you're about to say.
No, I was just we're so well in tune. We could be the same
balanced.
Two different sides of the same coin. Yes.
Yeah. In a foreign economy, sure.
But when I read it, I'm pretty easygoing on my fanfic reads. I can read anything from any fandom and, have a good time.
What's amazing to me about you is that often, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you read in fandoms that you haven't even seen the source material for, right?
Yeah.
It's just basically a book.
Right. I think that's so like interesting perspective, because I think so many people seek out fan fiction to further flesh out, as Katie puts it, a hyperfixation and enjoyment of a world and certain characters, and wanting to see how they react and would react in these hypothetical situations. And you're just over here being like, a story is a story, and it doesn't matter if I have zero context. Like, I'm gonna go in, you know.
Figure it out along the way.
Yeah, no, I kind of love that about you.
But have you ever watched or like read a fanfic of like a fandom that you're not part of in, and then you've gone and watched the
Oh, girl, let me
content that
tell
is
you
made of,
something.
and you're like, wait, this is not correct. This is not how they behave.
It's a great
So, my foyer into Supernatural was through fan fiction, okay?
Oh God. And you're like,
very
wait, they're
first-
not gay?
The very first Supernatural fanfic I read was Wincest, and I watched the show, and I was like,
God.
wait, they're not boyfriends?
That is hysterical.
Yeah,
to me.
that was a jump scare for sure.
And they were roommates.
And they were brothers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah. But nowadays, if I want to read fanfic from a show that I watch, it's usually like Marvel or Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. And how often would you say you're reading fanfiction? Is it still an everyday occurrence for you?
You know, I feel like I've cut back. I say because I've switched to only reading fics that are like either finished or close to being finished.
Smart.
So it's not like I'm checking my email every day for an update, you know?
Right.
Like,
Okay.
I read it in one sitting and then I'm done with it.
That's fair. To answer my
You
own
ever leave comments?
Oh, that's a great question.
You know, I used to be a comment leaver, but I'm not anymore.
Katie Steed, same question.
I feel like I don't know, the digital footprint. Some of those things shouldn't have been said.
That's fair.
Well, I use a burner account, so I leave comments.
You do? How
I do.
frequently? Like on everything you read?
Well, I've only read like since we met, I've read like maybe 2-3 fics.
Okay.
So
But-
it's not like it's not an occurring event, but I do try to leave comments on every chapter because that's some of my favorite things about fanfic. Writing fanfic is getting comments. I'm like, let me just put out into the universe what I want to get back.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is comments on my fanfics and a lot of gay sex. Katie,
Nice.
same question.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I try to. It's really hard because not hard. Because I have gotten a lot of comments in the past that have really helped me, like, you know, be like continue writing basically. And so whenever I find a fanfic that like it gets me, I like make a point of like, even though I read fanfic at night and like I'm falling asleep and like I do not do comments on my phone, I'll like go to my computer and I'll open up a tab with that fanfic and like have it on my to-do list of like comment on this chapter. So I remember to do that. And so yeah, and you know, especially because like with one of my burner accounts, I follow a lot of the writers on like a Tumblr account, and so like this from the same, like my AO3 is connected to my Tumblr, and so sometimes I'll see my favorite writers like kind of lamenting that this one pairing didn't get a lot of comments, and so I'll like go and like write a little comment for them because I'm like, don't stop writing. So I know I need that sometimes. So like I try to give that back to other people, even though it is sometimes labor intensive for me. So yeah, you may see me in the comments of a fanfic if you read in other circles that I do, which I don't think anyone does.
Now I'm just gonna look at every comment thinking, is this a Katie burner account? Like, what would Katie do? What would Katie comment?
What would Katie comment? They're really long. I try to make them longer. So
like
I just leave 1-2 sentences at the most because I just, you know, busy woman on the go.
I could do that because I love those as well. But there is something about me where I'm like, I got to write down every thought and feeling that I had about things.
Well, and I can imagine that those are really valuable for the writer, Katie, because you having your background, like your educational background in like analysis, creative writing and stuff like that. I think a lot of times when you comment on somebody's work, they feel very seen because you're picking up on these threads and themes that kind of maybe a more like, I don't know. It's just most people, even if they're like catching on them, they might not be commenting on. So it's really nice, I think, for a writer to hear being like, good, that's coming across. And so I think both are super valued. Like the paragraphs on comment and the OMG, I'm so obsessed with this, like I think those are both valued and necessary for a writer's kind of validation. Okay, so for me, fandoms do I typically write in? I used to write in, this is so random, but Bones fan fiction. I
can see that for you.
Yep.
You are giving Bones fan fiction writer, and I mean that parenthesis affectionate.
Thank you.
What is Temperance Brennan if not an isolated woman?
Oh my God. Except Katie, it was Bones Next Generation. So there's an episode of Bones where she finds a baby. And like it's the dancing phalanges episode, which I use on babies all the time. And it's like that is such a good like parenting trick. I'm sorry. Like Bones changed the course of my life with that parenting trick. Because you can get a crying baby to shut up with dancing phalanges. So it's great. But yeah, so in that episode, it's a baby boy and she like really bonds with it. And I think it's like the first time she's like, wow, maybe I can connect with a child and like maybe I could be a mom. And then but eventually they like find the baby's because the baby's mom has died in like a car bomb or something. I forget. And the baby was in a tree, like in a bassinet in a tree. Like
right. I remember that.
I forget exactly, but like it was something crazy. And then but at the end they find the
that are wild.
Yeah, the baby's like maternal parent and grandparents like take the baby, right? So in my mind, I was like, okay, let's do a little reverse-a-roo. And the baby's a girl. And she's gonna be raised by Temperance Brennan. Don't ask me how that adoption process worked, but it did. And then I had it where it was Next Generation. So it was the girl raised by Temperance and Parker, which was Booth's son. And it was like them as teenagers getting involved in a case and also kind of like falling in love. Cause for some reason, I shipped Brennan and Booth, but not so fervently that I couldn't envision this world where they were basically co-parents to these, like, not co-parents. The kids weren't like.
It wasn't a life with Derek situation. Is what you're
giving cruel intentions. Anyway, no, but no, it was super fun. So I wrote Bones fanfic. I think this counts because it was on fanfiction.net. As a category, I wrote a lot of Greek mythology fan fiction, and recently dabbled into Wrath King fan fiction.
Truly the most iconic of genres to write.
The niches of fanfic.
Truly the niches, which is like so makes me so pleased.
The irony of my fan fiction being published before like the work itself. Iconic.
Thank you. And what?
No, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Just as for things that I read in, I mean, to no one's surprise, Twilight fanfic was like my bread and butter. Like, the way I needed more of that universe. Twilight fanfiction, Harry Potter fanfiction every so often. My big one, though, truly, like the biggest one, was Phantom of the Opera fanfiction.
Oh, I can also see that.
Yeah.
Did you ever read 50 Shades of Grey before it was 50 Shades of Grey?
I did not. That started posting, I think, like after I stopped really visiting fanfiction.net. Because I definitely had a phase in my life where I totally dropped off. And actually, I don't read any fanfiction anymore. Like, I got burnt so badly by Harry Potter fanfiction when I was in college that it basically put me off fanfiction forever. So, yeah. So that's my answer. And now, 30 minutes into it, we're going to go into the comments. This was supposed to be a quick little refresher. Sorry. We're going to do a chunky sprint to make up for the lengthy Q0. First of all, somebody was like, I do not read or write fanfic. I think it was Ava. And I was like, Slay, like, you have so much too.
How does it feel being better than us?
No, that's not what I meant. Just different. Not better, just different. Ava, I'm very curious to know, as a total outsider, what your perspective is on fan fiction and why you have not read or written. Is that a personal choice, or is it just like the way that things have gone for you? Like, why have you never felt called to read something that, like, with a fandom that you're really engaging in, why have you never like sought out more of it, I guess is my question. Sayla says, not going to dox myself, but the first fic I ever read was HP. Now I'm in a lot of fandoms I'm not in because I have fave fic writers. I haven't posted fic in years, so that's fair. When he says, I read where the hyperfixation demands, so it has changed many times. Mom says, I used to write HP fanfiction. We know this. And it was either all Marauders era, OC times Sirius Black's, not OC times, OCX Sirius Black, and like one about OC meets Draco when I was even younger. I also wrote some in the Stargate Atlantis fandom, deep cut.
Let me tell you though, I've read some Marauders fic that's been like, truly like the epitome of fiction to me. Like they've been so crisp, so clean, so good, like just entire universes and stories of their own.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sad or bummed that HP has been ruined by the author. And I just some of them girlies who wrote Marauders fan fiction could have gone to the moon if they wanted.
100%. I have this whole thing where like, and I'll talk about this later for the question that's like, what's a fanfic that's really like haunted you? But I read a Marauders fanfic, and I've talked about it before, that was so incredible that it made me be like, I don't even want to read Harry Potter anymore, because this is the story to me. This is the story. Like Harry Potter is like, knowing how it all ends and stuff is like such an intense level of devastation. You're just like, I can't read it. I can only read fan fiction of Harry Potter where Lily and James survive and Sirius is an adorable godfather and they're all like fighting the war still, but nobody I love is dead. Ava says, my closest pal writes Twilight fanfic, so I recommend that for everyone. It's no.
So what is your stance on Jake and Bella, Wallace? Do we have another 2 hours to dive into this?
Like those elves in the Lord of the Rings that were old as balls and very wise. Oh, y'all look so beautiful and amazing. I think this is a thank you. I think
That is the best compliment.
It's quite
his balls, damn.
I even have the beauty filter on. How dare you?
Stieg behind stage said I looked like Brigitte Bardot today, and I was like, literally, I've never received a higher compliment on my physical appearance in my entire life. Thank you very much. Neon Moon says, currently working on an Avengers fanfiction. I read many but not all branches of MCU. Lots of older sci-fi shows like Lost and Fringe. I did used to read Fringe fanfic. Teen Wolf, The Vampire Diaries, and the originals. Actually,
Teen Wolf fanfiction was my crack for a period.
Yeah. This is either Deep Wallace lore or you knew this about me, but the first book I ever wrote from start to finish, the first manuscript I ever finished, had its kernel, its seed bloomed. Oh, that's weird. I was gonna say bloomed inside like that. But the very first beginnings of that idea stemmed from like a internal Vampire Diaries fan fiction that I had, but I never actually wrote down. So
that's what I'm gonna mention. I cut you off, and I was like, I don't think she actually ever wrote it. I think she just went straight into DC.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there have been a lot of fandoms where I like have entire storylines fully plotted out that I just never wrote them down. Like I literally have an entire season of Doctor Who plotted out, like an entire season of Doctor Who, and like with character arcs, like and each episode having its, kind of thing of the week, like adventure of the week, but still tying into the overarching dynamic of the season and like the plot themes of the season. But so I have that for Doctor Who, Vampire Diaries, and the originals, and some other shows and stuff, but never wrote them down.
You should write your Akatar fic.
Wait, which one is that? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think it redacted.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not SLC related, is it?
No, it's redacted related, I think.
Redacted related. Okay, say it in the private chat. I don't know what you're talking about. Kelly says, I haven't done or read fanfic in years, but I have fallen down the creepypasta rabbit hole, and I'm currently writing a short story creepypasta. Fantastic. Kelly, if you're comfortable, feel free to share it in the writing section on fiction section in the Discord. Molin says, 100% agree with Katie. I don't do RPF, but even say Draco in fanfics is a whole different character than in canon. But somehow it's like canon in the fandom is his character is that way. Like fandoms develop new personalities for characters and sort of agree on it without saying it out loud. It's crazy. I know. There are a lot of people wow, I just pulled that fact out of my ass. I feel like there are a lot of people in like getting higher degrees in like sociology and anthropology that do their dissertations on fan culture online. And I'm like, those dissertations probably are so fire to read from like just an interest standpoint. Yeah. Wendy says, I think different sections of fandom definitely have their own versions of the characters that are, at minimum, slightly changed from their originals. I'd be writing fanfic for anything and everything. I just finished a weird little fanfic that I'll never post. I also read anything. Sometimes I just read random fic. That's fair. Back to this point, though, what I find really interesting is when this element bleeds into the original content, like the original source, because the fan fiction starts getting, especially at shows that have like multiple seasons, the fan fiction starts getting written early on, and then the creators of the show kind of see what the like really rabid fans are hoping from characters, and then they like in a way that can affect the later character development of the characters. I feel like that happened on the Vampire Diaries, but that's just me. Anyway, with Damon. Anyway, Gay says, so I can truly enjoy the fruits of somebody's love and labor from this comment earlier. Neil Moon says, I think it's also credit to the fanfic writers who can flesh out the world so well a reader can pick it up with no context. Absolutely. People are giving Grape love over the Wincest discovery.
This was on fanfiction.net. This was in the wild, y'all, okay? Yeah. There were no tags. How was I supposed to know?
Oh, that's fair.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh. Imagine, like, tagging, I think, has become such a thing now. It's even, like, bled into, like, mainstream.
Sorry, that comment's iconic.
That the idea of reading a fanfic without tags is, like, like, if a fanfic doesn't have any tags, I'm like, I'm going to scroll away from you because I would like to know what is in this. I think it's the same. And now it's almost like bleeding into traditional and indie publishing now. Like, part of the marketing is, like, these are the tropes and the tags that are for my book. Which I love.
I forget who was having this conversation. I feel like it might have been Malin and Anna during their stream a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But how instead of comps, like trope tags are more effective now at selling a book. And Katie was like, I'm actually kind of glad for that. And they were like, oh, you know, we would prefer it the other way. But I think that's a really interesting discussion.
I mean, there are always comping books I've never heard about. So this tells me nothing. But like saying Lost Family, I'm like, oh, immediately, yes.
Right. Exactly.
And with books, I remember this because you called me out. Well, it's because I was kind of mean to SAM. Because people will like be like, oh, this is ACOTAR makes the Hunger Games. Okay, what about those two books is this book like? Like, and I understand why in query letters you use comps like that, because like, for example, my query letter, I say it has the queer magical realism of One Last Stop and the tennis universe of Carrie Soto is Back. Like, it tells you what of those two books is there, but often in blurbs, it's just like for fans of this and this. And it's like, okay, but I may be a fan of this for this reason, and that isn't in the book,
right? Because
it's for another reason. Like, that's why I personally love a tagging system and like putting exactly why this book is like this book.
Yes.
I like the specificity. Give me the specifics.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of times those don't say anything about the world of the book, just the character dynamics. And sometimes you need more than just character dynamics to really be immersed inside of a book.
That is true. I'm a character girly, so I'm like, I don't care about plot.
Me too, but that's saying a lot. If I'm like, I need more than just the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom says,
oh my god, stop eating my.
Mom says, I don't read fanfics anymore because my weird competitive with myself brain doesn't like that I can't put that on my Goodreads as a finished book. Oh, that's interesting. Laura says, for writing, she writes in Harry Potter, Naruto, D. Greyman, Rise of the Guardians. Wait, isn't Rise of the Guardians the one where it's like owls? The lore.
No, Rise of the Guardians is like Jack Frost and.
Oh,
like,
okay. But also,
the Easter Bunny.
Laura, when you say the Lorax, I have to know.
It's not one cest. It's not one cest. We talked about this before. I remember Laura has mentioned this.
Okay.
It is not one cest. I think it is. Laura will have to correct me about it or like say what it is, but I'm 100% certain it is not. It's not one slur incest. Because I asked the same question.
Thank you. For reading Laura Reed's an Avengers, Full Metal Alchemist, Bleach, which I don't know what that is, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Attack on Titan, Hannibal, and Rurouni Kenshin. What I find fascinating about this is that there's like, other than Harry Potter, there's no crossover. That's so interesting. Yeah. Anyway, Wendy, for anybody who's helped, is for commenting and not doxing yourself, you can log out and go to Anon to comment. So there you go, Steve. Gay says, I comment so much. If I don't leave paragraph long comments, I will die. That's fair. Especially because I feel like it's a good way to give back some of the love the fic writers give out. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Lynn says, approximately 20 minutes ago, Lynn said, love that, Steve. I agree. Receiving kudos and comments is making my day right now. When I wake up to an email notification for one, it keeps me going. Witty says, plus when you write in a fandom, the interaction with fellow fans is often part of the whole thing. So hearing from them is really nice. Yes. Bones fanfic. I know. Oh my God. Love Bones and Booth. Yes, I know, guys. But again, I was next generation. When I like posted it there in the first couple chapters, there were a lot of people being like, wait, so Brennan and Booth aren't together? And I was like, no, wrap your head around the concept. Like, this is the concept.
This is non-negotiable.
Yeah, but if you go searching for it, I'm pretty sure you won't find it because I think I took everything off of my account at a certain point and just like it wiped that from existence. Neil Moon says, I like hearing from readers to get an idea of where to take the story next, not plot-wise, but they do need a slower paced chapter. Do they want more from the romance plot, etc.? Yep, that's fair.
I can guarantee you they always want more from the romance plot.
Oh my God.
At least that's what I want. But
Yeah.
that's answering the next question, so I shall not divulge any further.
Molly says, I was obsessed with Angela and Hodgins and one time saw the actor of Hodgins in Paris. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. My Latin teacher looked just like that actor and it really threw me off. Gay said, honestly, the biggest RPF writer of them all has to be David Fincher at this point. No one can argue with me about this. Katie, will you give context to this? I don't know.
He did The Social Network. He's the director of The Social Network.
That's funny.
Well, but like, that's the writer, because David Fincher also did Zodiac, didn't he?
No idea. I just know David Fincher did.
Oh, you know David Fincher?
Social Network.
Because
him doing The Social Network?
And also, he directed The Social Network. I thought it was Sorkin who wrote the script for. Are we sure it's David?
I think it is. Oh, I may be. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Let me look. I thought it was, though.
Correct, but I don't know if it's David Fincher.
Yeah, David Fincher.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, he did. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay. This is not who I was thinking. Fight Club, 7, Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes, he directed The Social Network.
Did he?
But so Aaron Sorkin wrote the script for Social Network. And Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. Don't ask me why the freaking Social Network is my romance.
Why do you know that? Excuse me. Did you write Social Network fanfiction? Are you Casey McQuiston?
Guys, Red, Right, and Royal Blue. That's where it is.
Casey McQuiston.
Keeping a secret for 2 years.
I know. Hello. Anna says, oh my God, the thought of writing fanfic of a friend's work is so fun. It has been fun.
We should do that at some point for each other. That'd be so fun.
I am doing it.
She's already doing it. And I'm going to be doing it for Chibophile, so.
Yes, I understand. How deep was the Phantom fic? How deep was the Phantom fanfic, though? I'm so intrigued. There was a writer who wrote, she had 20 completed fanfics for the Phantom of the Opera. And Christine and the Phantom were always the pairing, and it was always them post the opera house. And the way that When Love Never Dies, I retreated into her work. The way that When Love Never Dies came out and everybody heard about the plot and everything like that. I retreated into this writer's work as a way of soothing my soul because Love Never Dies was such a botched job. So for anyone who doesn't know, Love Never Dies is the sequel that Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote for Phantom of the Opera, and it's not good. Here's my hot take. I've always thought that actually Love Never Dies would be so good if reworked to be Great Gatsby, based off the Great Gatsby, rather than continuing onto the Phantom train. I don't think it's a perfect one for one, but I feel like that's what he should have done. because
To be fair, though, I don't think Andrew Lloyd Webber is a good writer.
Well, but I think he's a good composer.
Composer, yes. I think writer and storyteller, no. But that's not the conversation. But I don't know. He's not great.
I don't know. I have to contemplate that for a bit longer. Mon says the only Twilight fanfics I read were Carlisle because I was obsessed. Didn't care about Jacob Edward at all. Love that.
I was equally obsessed about Charlie, so sorry.
Charlie, the chokehold that man had on me when I read Twilight.
Yep.
And that chunky one from the siblings, I forget his name. Emmett.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the chunky one.
Yeah. This is so true. There is something so addictive about Phantom of the Opera. I hated the movie Labyrinth when I was a kid. Like, it scared me so bad. I was terrified of David Bowie. Hi, Bombastus. Lula reads, as someone who knows a lot about grammar, I have a lot of trouble finding fanfics that I can get past the first few paragraphs in.
I also know a lot about grammar. I just don't care.
Just Davis says comprehension is what matters most with stories. Focus on that over grammar, maybe. But like, you can't help what bothers you, you know? Yeah. If it says like, when we tell stories in person, our grammar isn't great, but we all laugh and have a great time. That's fair.
You want to know one of my weird pet peeves about fanfiction?
What?
And this is going to sound like such a hypocrite because I do not mind reading. No, I don't mind reading like texts and stuff where it has no capital letters. Like, I write with no capital letters when I'm texting. Right. Doesn't bother me. Don't even notice it. But if there is a fanfic that is written in all lowercase letters, I can't physically read it.
Yeah.
It feels. Yes, I found some because I like read like, the concept's really good. And sometimes like the description will be in lowercase letters, but then the rest of the fanfic is like formatted normally. Okay. That's something I do. But anyway, but the rest of the fic is fine. But like, if it's all in lowercase letters, even if the grammar is perfect, even the spelling is, like, my brain cannot get past it. It is so weird to me. Anyway, it's like a weird thing that I can't get past.
That's fair. And I think this point from Lula is totally valid, that I don't want to just read any fan fiction. I want to read good fan fiction. I think that's legitimate. And
yeah.
Ava, were you not here a couple of weeks ago when Katie and I were reading Hamburglar and just the general McDonald's fast food universe fan fiction live on stream? Because that was something. Anyway, yes, people read bad fanfic. I have read so many bad.
If you're in a niche fandom or like have a niche rare pair,
sometimes it's the only
you'll
choice.
Read anything.
Yep. So true. Lynn says, for fanfic Feb, I posted some of my fanfic to AO3 for the first time ever. Congratulations. Way to go into the intention of the month. What a weird feeling to put it out there to complete strangers. I was only ever a fanfic reader. I'm so proud of you.
So proud of you. Yeah.
Ava said, I've never read a fanfic. I feel like the simulation added fanfiction after I was grown and I somehow missed it. It was the thing in my life. Okay, that's totally legitimate. All right. This is why you shouldn't, as a creator, have any social media. Who asked for these fans' opinions? I don't want to see that.
With like creators taking or like leaning into fandom ideas of things. And then changing the course of their own thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, I just don't think that, well, you know what? Everybody can pave their own path, but I think the trend right now is that creators, in order to be good at promotion and stuff, social media is a really useful tool. Okay, I promise maybe we're getting to the end. Nope, not even close, guys. Okay.
You're so far behind.
I'm really like deadly far behind. Oh, well, no, because like 8:49. I'm 10 minutes behind. Okay, hold on.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna skip a couple comments. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna okay. Lula says, I'm currently writing down all the things I like about my favorite animes and why. When I'm done, I'll kind of pick and choose some things and put them together to write an original story. See, I like that. Like, you're kind of using it almost as a crafting workshop. Jessica says, I personally am a very bad reader, so I hate when they say comp titles because I've usually never read or heard of them at all, so it does nothing but confuse me. But Jessica does say, I have written fanfic for Has Been Hotel most recently, and we dare not mention anything before that. All right. This is what I was thinking about. Guardians of Gahula. Yep. Another day being said that I have class during the trouble stream. Oh, sorry, Zainab.
Quit college. Come and hang with us.
Laura says, I do not support the statement that Steve just said. Laura says, in the Lorax fic, it was not one cest. He was trying to find his dad who had given him the guitar as a kid. Okay, I like it. Oh, Gahul is pronounced Gahuli. Gahuli. Thank you. Gahuli. I don't know. The actor for Hodgins popped up on my TikTok feed and I got a little teary. It was ridiculous. Oh, he's like a content creator now? He wrote Mindhunter? Oh, David Fincher, which is RPF, an actual FBI agent. Yeah, that's so interesting. That is so interesting that people can write unauthorized biopics about people, and it's like, this is just a biopic, but when other people do stuff, it's RPF.
It's all RPF. Biopics are RPF.
Yeah. That's interesting. The Social Network took over Tumblr for a huge moment, so I also know those facts well. Solidarity. Yeah, I think that was also because when I went and saw The Social Network, I love movie scores. I'm a movie score girly, and that score was so unique to me and kind of unlike anything I'd ever heard before. And so I really followed the award ceremony for Trent Reznor because I really wanted him to win an Oscar, and I was super happy that he did. There was no way talking fanfic was going to be a quick topic. True. We have too many feelings. I know. Oh, no way. Oh, that's so interesting. I don't know what this means. Laps lock in fic is a no-go.
Lower caps lock.
Oh, okay, got it. Do you all have a song you associate with a ship? Ooh, I'd have to think on that one.
No.
Not any like fiction ships, but my own pairings all have like songs that I associate with them.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I don't have songs that I associate with a ship, but I have like entire albums where I'm like, ooh, that goes to this show. Like, I'm sorry, but for anybody who's watched the originals, the debut album from Mumford & Sons, Sigh No More, so many of those songs I feel like are so Klaus becoming a father coded. Like, Little Lion Man.
That's Klaus. Sorry.
Right?
I was literally thinking that. I'm like, I don't know if that's on that album, but I'm like, that song is Klaus.
It's on that album. Yeah.
Sorry.
I would often, when I was doing my like headcanon, because one of my biggest complaints for the originals was that they focused too much on Klaus's like romantic personal dynamics that we'd already seen him deal with, and like relationships with his siblings and other people that we'd already seen him deal with in the Vampire Diaries. And I was like, I want to see Klaus like more focus on the fact that he's like wrangling with the idea of becoming a father, right? Like they touched on it, but not enough. And I just felt like when I was rewriting the seasons in my head, that was my soundtrack to those seasons, was the Sigh No More album by Mumford & Sons. So, yep.
And I actually do. I'm so sorry I lied to you. Oh, I do. I just thought
Okay,
about that.
what is it?
Please share with the class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if anyone watched coming back to Supernatural, the season with the Leviathan, okay,
Yes.
there's a song by Pierce the Veil that fits perfectly with that plot line with Dean and Cass. I have to find the song. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Gay says sometimes the rare pair is so rare you got to start writing to be able to read anything at all. This is so true. Okay, so for the most part, we have caught up. We're gonna dive into a 45-minute sprint to really get chonky about it. Oh, sorry, Lua. I responded
back to us.
Yeah, welcome back. I think I responded to most of your questions. Also, are you new?
I don't think so. I think I've seen Lula around.
Really? Well, welcome.
Oh,
Yeah, this is like, thank God these bitches are shutting up. Yeah, we're gonna go to 45 minutes for everybody. Once again, Laura Nettles will be contributing to today's thing, and we're gonna be doing the Galaxy Moon Timer.
Oh,
vibe, right?
Lovely.
All right, not like that. What? Whatever.
I think it's the song thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Is everybody ready to dive into his sprint?
Mm-hmm.
Steve, what are you gonna be working on?
I'm gonna double it and give it to the next one.
Okay. Katie, what are you working on?
I am going to be outlining 2 stories or 3 stories. I'm going to try to be doing some outlining.
Okay. And Devesha, what are you going to be working on?
I'm gonna get out of bed.
Nice. I will be super narcissistic and be watching my old videos to see how I should format upcoming videos. Bye.
Hi, Froggy.
Enjoy your fancy mango milkshake.
And a loud noise. Oh. That wasn't that bad. I thought it was going to be another thing, but I haven't think it.
Come
What?
never
You were in a tunnel, girl.
the stars.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and
There
clear.
you are.
That's
It's like
my
you're spiritually in the room with me.
yeah. That's the thing with StreamYard is that if there's music playing and it dampens your own. Hold on. How did you do during that sprint, Steeg?
I got through all the admin tasks I was supposed to do, did the dishes, took out the trash, and then I packed for an upcoming trip tomorrow.
Ooh,
Where
are you
are
going?
we
Can
going?
you tell us?
Going into the big city, the big apple. It's a rotten apple, but apple nonetheless.
The medium apple?
Yeah, to the insert apple type here. There's an old Jack. Is that an apple? I don't know. Not important for the joke. For an internship at the hospital, at the big city hospital.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, doing like a 2-day stint with a coworker.
Oh, that'll be fun. Hopefully.
I have to live in my house, which I'm not really emotionally, spiritually, or physically in the state for at these current time in space. But it is what it is. I am, contractually obligated to attend this thing. So,
Hopefully you get something out of it.
I mean, I will get knowledge, which I always like. So,
It's true.
That's fair.
Kitty Ann and Blue, how's the berries?
He's doing good. He was laying down and sleeping while I was working, which was nice. And I spent most of that sprint trying to find if I made a Scrivener document for one of the books I'm trying to outline, and apparently I didn't. So I had to set up my Scrivener doc for.
It's like getting brand new shoes. It's an experience.
It's just there's so much potential in that Scrivy doc, and I know within
So
2
many
weeks it'll be
miles you haven't
completely
walked,
missed.
so many steps you haven't taken in your life,
Yeah,
so many
so much
doorsteps you haven't
potential.
crossed.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Devasia? Grape pie?
The best you fell asleep.
I'm here. No, I'm up. I'm awake. I'm up, standing. Oh, I didn't take my vacation. I took the dog
still
outside.
standing.
I put some toaster strudels. No, wrong word. French toast in the oven. And now I'm trying to clean up so I can sit at my desk.
Nice. Finally made it.
Yeah.
I watched my old England vlog and realized that except for basically one clip, that was also all B-roll, and I think that vlog is such a slay. So I have reinvigorated hope for the new vlog. And then instead of I'm sorry guys, compiling my hold on, let me put this on do not disturb. Instead of compiling all my footage and getting started on editing, I instead was watching random Bridgerton edits on YouTube.
I'm so excited for the new season.
I think I am.
So ready.
Unfortunately, I think I am getting sick. So
Just ill, poorly. Gotcha. I thought you meant sick of Bridgerton, and I was like,
oh no,
lady.
Yeah, thankfully, no.
Like,
no.
I'm so ready for that season. Oh,
I mean, I think our friendship would be strong enough to survive it, but have to be some amendments. Is that what it's called when you do
Yeah. Reevaluation. We'd have to reevaluate. But yeah, so then
I'm sorry, babes, but you're locked in for life. There's no reevaluating, but
okay, good. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I then because I'm not feeling well, I decided to be out of self-pity that I DoorDashed scheduled for in a couple hours to receive some of my favorite food, and then just kind of rethinking my plans because I really had a lot of stuff I wanted to get done the next couple days. But if I'm getting sick, I'm gonna stay at home so I don't spread. But yeah, that's how I am. So let's get into our first actual question, because technically the last question was question 0. But,
should we just promise to say what they did first?
Sure. Wendy said, I'm still outlining this fanfic. I'm a little stuck calling BS on all the writers who have said, I don't get writer's block because I outline. You can get stuck in an outline too better, LOL. I've had such interesting experiences with outlines. I've had one book, which is Tabitha, where I fully outlined it and that helped me write it within a timely manner. And then I've had another book, Project HR, where I fully outlined it, and I felt like because I did that, it paralyzed me because I wasn't actually sure if that outline was the best way of telling the story. But I also am like, it's fully outlined, so I have to write it this way. And then I felt like it really cut off any ability to kind of explore other avenues. So yeah, I'm kind of a split on outlining.
It's a double-edged blade.
I find that outlining is the hardest part for me. As soon as the outline is done, I love to draft. Give me all the drafting. But
see, I feel like as soon as that line is done, it can take the joy out of the story for me. For
exactly, yeah.
I didn't do that for Tabitho because the joy of Tabitho wasn't the plot; it was the experience of being in the story. Whereas I feel like with my more, serious books, the figuring out the plot is the joy, and Sorry, someone in my apartment complex just went to the bathroom. Just hear it.
That's going to have to be the fifth troublemaker. Is going to be the of their apartment complex.
I don't know if it comes up on StreamYard.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay. It literally sounds like a rushing waterfall right on this wall of mine. So it's like so funny. Anyway, so that's just a thought. Gay says, I have such a hard time outlining stories, even the ones I really want to write, simply because after I do, the excitement I have for the story kind of goes away. Exactly. Wendy always feels like you get sick after traveling. Yeah, this is hitting me so fast. Like last night, my throat was tickly, but I thought it was because I flew back into Colorado. It's dry. I didn't really hydrate on the plane, and I just went to bed because I was so tired. But then last night I slept for 12 hours, and I was like, well, it was the jet lag. Like I literally went to bed at 5:30-ish and then woke up at 5:30-ish and I was like, oh, it's the jet lag. But I also sleep a lot right before I get really sick. And then during the last sprint, I feel like it started to so that should be interesting. It's gonna be fine. Okay, that's talking to gays. Sayla says, I like to know a loose, vague arc, but if I know too much in the outline, I already told myself the story and I'm no longer interested. Lula, I write short pieces of outline at a time, and then I'll write from that outline. Then I write the next piece of that outline. That way, I don't have too much to scrap if I change my mind. I think that's
what I do, Lula. So
that's what Neil Gaiman does. He says it's like a headlights writer.
Yep. Discovery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Discovery headlights. Yep.
Gay says that sucks major ass. I want to write it because it's already there, and then my mind goes, no, die.
Then perish.
All right. Here we go, guys. Question 1, technically 2, I guess. What fanfic tropes are your guilty pleasures? What is a fanfic that has stayed in your mind for years, and does it have the tropes that you love? Stieg?
I'm just going to go ahead and say it, that Forbidden Love, both in fiction and also specifically in fanfiction, it gets my nope.
Gets your pussy going.
It makes my pussy throb, as the children say.
Wait, one more time. What trope?
Forbidden Love.
Okay.
Also, anything Grumpy Sunshine, I gobble up like a penis. And also anything like one bed trope, here for it. Also, anything gay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Gay, parentheses, umbrella term, not as in queer men, but specifically queer men. Also gobble that up.
I think the one bed trope is so terrifying to me because if that happened to me, I would be full panic. I'm
such a people pleaser. I would be like, no, I'll take the floor. You take the bed. Don't worry about it. And I just lay on the floor and just mull about it. Like, you should have given me the bed. That would have been the polite thing to do.
There have been there's a funny one bed trope, but I'm trying to feel where I read this, but they both do that. They both refuse the bed, and so the one bed trope becomes the one floor trope where they both end up on the floor and they still end up somehow cuddling, and the bed remains empty for the entire night.
Yeah.
All right. What is a fanfic that has stayed in your mind for years, and does it have the tropes that you love?
Is this also part of the haunted one?
Yes, you can say.
I think I've talked about this every time we've ever talked about a fanfiction, but there's this one fucking Harry Potter fanfiction about Harry and Empreg and Voldemort. I think I've talked about it before. And Harry having to struggle, balancing school life with being a teenage mom because he gets pregnant in this and gives birth to a baby, and then he has to balance like, oh, I have to do my astronomy, and I also have to just that shit has been haunting me for years, and I cannot get it out of my brain. And I just wish someone would take like Dawn dish soap and just scrub it out, scrub it clean. I want to be lobotomized.
Did you
so I
read
can
it all the way
forget that.
through? Did you?
I fucking read it all the way through, and I hate myself for it. I wish I hadn't. It was just, why?
That was such an excellent thought question. Like in impreg, how does the baby feed? Like, where does somebody produce milk? Does the impreg?
Harry had to go to Hogsmeade and buy baby formula.
Okay.
And I just, just please, you know, God, I'm ready to go. Take me from this earth. I've seen enough. But that's probably, and that's like the most haunting one that I've ever read, and it stayed with me, and I cannot forget it. Sorry, I get pressed every time I talk about it. In terms of like staying with me good time, like there's this Marauder fic that I read. It was just absolutely amazing, and I want to hear it. Nope, I want to hear it. I have heard it. I read it, but I want to see it on the movie screen because it's just so good. But that kind of again transcended like the Harry Potter fandom for me. That just become its own thing for me.
How long?
I read this over the course of like my high school years. So it would have been that 2.5 years. She was like 300k something. Yeah, back when I had dedication and an attention span.
Oh my god.
But it was so good. It was so good. But yeah.
Does it have the tropes that you love? I mean, I guess Forbidden Love for sure.
Forbidden Love. It was super gay. You know, there was the one bed trope. It was just, it was so good.
And was it like Snake Voldemort, or was it like Tom Riddle? Like, who was it that impregged Harry?
Oh, that was Voldemort. Like, you know, Nose Less.
Okay.
Nose Less Voldemort.
Okay.
Why is After Teenage Boys? Beats me. I don't know. But that haunts me, and I wish it would stop.
Where in the Harry Potter world did it begin? Like after Goblet of Fire, or like
his 16th year? So was it? What would that have been?
That's Half-Blood Prince.
2005. Whatever book came out that year.
Okay, maybe.
Is that the Half-Blood Prince?
2005. I don't know, because I don't think every book came out like in yearly succession. But you said it was his 6th year. He was a 6th year. So that's Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, it was basically the author sold it off as like My Sweet 16 kind of meets Harry Potter.
Like the MTV show?
Yeah, no, God, Teen Mom, not My Sweet 16.
Okay.
Teen Mom and Harry Potter.
My Sweet 16 is a teen mom.
Yeah, but it was just, I don't know. I wish I hadn't read it, and I wish I could forget it. But here we are. You know, I did my time, 22 years of it, and it still haunts me to this day.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, but that's my life.
Thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
Katie?
Obviously, it is no surprise to anyone that my guilty pleasure, not even guilty pleasure, my favorite fanfic trope is soulmates. Any version of it.
That's fair.
Like if they have like numbers on their arm, like how long it is till they meet their soulmate. If it's like their name that then turns a different color when they touch them. If it is something they say, that's my favorite one. Every other fanfic trope I like has gone out of my brain. So I'm now looking through my bookmarks on my AO3 to see if there's any common denominators. I mean, obviously, like I love found family. I love the one bed trope. I love my favorite format for fan fiction is 5+1. So like 5 times they didn't get together and the one time they did, or like one of my favorites is 5 times people didn't think they were together and one time they did. Like, so it's like 5 different snippets of like, you know, these two characters, like, and they're either established or like, you know, and then people around them like see them doing things and they're like, oh, they're definitely not a couple. And then on the 6th one, the +1, you know, they are, and they're like, oh my god, my dog is eating my bed.
Devesha, how about you?
Oh, she's back.
Okay.
He's being so annoying to me. What other ones do I love?
I mean, you just cut his balls off, so you know.
Yeah, give him some slack.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Just
validate his
I
emotions.
do. I have been, but he's not allowed to eat my bed or lick himself. Okay, and he's been trying to do both those
That's
things.
two of
for
his
an
favorite
hour.
things, Katie, and you're
I
trying.
know. And he's not allowed to do either of them right now. He's also not allowed to play with Bear, and he's also very upset about that. I'm also just a sucker. Oh,
I can't even read this out loud. I'm so sorry. Anyway,
I'm also just a sucker for like an established relationship one where like it's just the two characters being lovey-dovey with each other and like having a good time and going on dates.
yeah,
That's what I love.
yeah.
Also, an amendment to my favorite things. I love it when we have an established couple, and then we get to see the rocky bit, because there's always a rocky bit.
I hate
But
that.
like the rocky bit, and then they get back together again. That's important. Or like the uncertainty if they will get back together again. I'm here for it.
As long as the rocky bit isn't something like, I feel like so often the rocky bit is either so inconsequential, it doesn't make sense that they actually get upset with each other and break up, and so it kind of, to me, indicates that like they're not a strong couple to begin with, or the rocky bit is actually so rocky that I am mad when they do get back together, because I'm like, they shouldn't be together, you know?
I prefer the more existential type of crises, and not so much like, oh, you cheated on me, or like, oh, you are me.
But yeah, no,
Biggest ick
like,
if there's cheating in it.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Yeah. I feel like I feel like rocky bits are a tightrope. Katie, what about a fanfic that has stayed in your mind?
So there are two. One of them I'm very comfortable talking about because it is a modern universe of Jaime Lannister and Brienne of Tarth and their families, or she is working for the Lannisters and they own a publishing house. And she is like their PR person. And Jaime is obviously a little shit who's terrible.
He would
and
be
there's no
horrible at
incest in
a
it.
PR.
No, she is. She is. Brienne of Tarth is, not him. And I think that's
but
what
he
the
would
plot
be
is.
horrible at PR.
I think she'd be okay. Anyway, that wasn't the point.
Brienne of Tarth.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. This is where
It was
we
a
expand
fake.
the universe. Yep.
Yes, it's a modern day you.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But she would be a horrible PR person. She has,
She's well on the people.
Yeah, but this is who she is. Okay, I think that's what the plot was. There's fake dating, and obviously like kind of a little bit of enemies to lovers going on. I love that one. It's a modern publishing AU with them, and I like never read Game of Thrones fanfic, so like I don't know how I found this, but I loved it. And then the other one was the first fanfic I think I actually ever read on AO3, which was a hockey RPF one where the two main characters, it's accidental baby acquisition, where they basically have to adopt a child. And it is like 3 books, I think, of like just like they're like them getting together because they have the baby, then they get together, and like the relationship troubles are parenting related, where they're like literally trying to balance, having a baby and then also still having a hockey career. And there's like so much good like family stuff in it. Like it was chef's kiss. I wish I could find it again. I have not been able to. I might have to try now, but it was one of my favorite tropes, which is accidental baby acquisition. And
really?
That's having the baby. Or they like end up adopting the baby and then like she's growing up and like they're her parents.
That's my favorite too.
Not to psychoanalyze, but like, why do you think that is such a trope of yours? That
I love seeing grumpy men specifically and grumpy women becoming soft for a child, and learning and becoming better and pretending they don't want this child, but then turning around and be like, I would kill for this child.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
I love them so much.
Again, my biggest complaint with the originals was there was not enough Klaus and Hope.
And Eva, not accidental like pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like they get like they have to like adopt a baby. Like that's why I love Good Omens so much.
Yeah.
Stop licking. No licking. Because they basically like adopt the Antichrist.
Spacia.
Guilty pleasure. Definitely for sure, Omegaverse is a guilty pleasure. Those are like the bottom of the barrel, the dregs of fanfic, but there's some really good ones out there.
Okay.
There's some really good ones out there. But like Katie, one of my favorites is the accidental baby acquisition. I like Ooh, I like a lot of Hurt Comfort.
Wait, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, like I always do, but
So fast. How?
this is amazing. Please keep going. Please keep going.
Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment for like tropes that I like. I'm really not a trope, like that's not what I hone in on when I want to read a fic. It's more about like the ship and the scenario as opposed to, one bed or one box. I don't fucking know. A fic that has stayed in my mind for years. Oh, there's this one Star Trek ship that's got like not zero, because there's one person holding it down, but there's like 10 fics, and they're by the same author, and all of them, chef's kiss, so good. I think about them constantly.
Can we 20 questions guess?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, is it original Star Trek?
No.
Okay, so it's Picard Star Trek.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's gonna be hard. I know
That's
those
next
characters
gen.
less. I know those characters less. Okay. So that was 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is it gay?
No.
Okay.
She is heterosexual.
Okay. Does it involve Picard?
Yes.
Okay. We got one half the ship. Oh, is it monogamous?
Yes.
Okay. Picard. Is it Picard and Data?
No,
I was gonna say, I feel like that'd be common. I feel like a lot of people would do that one.
no.
Is it? Oh.
But I haven't read a lot of Picard Q fanfics, and they're not all good.
Isn't what is Whoopi Goldberg's name in? Is it Picard and Whoopi Goldberg's character?
It isn't.
Is it Picard X Holodeck?
No, what?
Oh, I don't know. Like the holodeck could be like its own character. I don't know. I don't know enough about.
Oh, hi, Jess.
I don't. Hi. I don't know enough to actually be effective at this. What are you willing to share? What the ship is?
Yeah, it's Picard and Deanna Troy. Oh, so good, so good.
That is. Who is Deanna Troy?
She's the counselor on the ship, like the hot one, big curly brown hair.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Data. I'm sorry.
Wallace has become Akinator. I used to freaking love that website. Okay. And sorry, I am struggling to concentrate. What about, and so there's one author who writes that fic pairing a lot. You said like 10 fics that are that pairing.
Yeah, she's like the only one. God bless her soul, or their soul.
And what about them call to you?
They're just so well written. They're so good. They could be published on their own.
So they're long.
Mm-hmm. They're
Got
like,
it.
yeah, long.
Awesome. Any other fanfics that have stayed with you?
I don't know. Maybe there's a supernatural fic, circling back to supernatural.
Fair.
Where Dean or Cass become pregnant with like an angel baby. I think that's what I think about quite often because it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Is that one that happens often?
It used to happen a lot in the 2010s. I don't know about now.
That's fair. All right. So for me, fanfic tropes from a stance of a guilty pleasure, I'm not sure. Although I guess I feel like I should be guilty because it feels misandrist. But and this is like so not edgy, but my favorite trope is like intense male pining, almost to the point like groveling. Like I need a man to beg for forgiveness for the slightest offense. And there was just a lot of that in the Phantom of the Opera ones that I read, which I think is why I clung to them so hard, because it really was about atonement and growth for Eric. But specifically the fanfic that put me off fanfic for years was The Life and Times, which is a Marauders era fanfic that was hundreds of thousands of words and then abandoned, and just changed my whole relationship with the Harry Potter universe, and then just left us in the dust. And it was so devastating. It has so much secret pining on James's part, because this, like, you get his perspective, although it's not like directly his POV as far as I can tell. I think it does. I think it does have some of James's POV in terms of his pining for Lily, and how he's like such a crappy teenage boy, but then he like recognizes that and he feels bad about it later. So it does have that trope, but I wouldn't say that's like the crux of the story. Isn't about his pining for Lily, but I still really like it. It's still good. Thank you, gays. How's that, Miss Andress? That's just called self-respect. I think because to the extreme for me of like how extreme it needs to be for me to feel satisfied. You know, that whole thing that I was talking about earlier, the Vampire Diaries seedling internal fan fiction that I had that I then turned into a whole novel, that was all specifically about me desperately needing Damon Salvatore to be mentally anguished for 100,000 plus words. Like, that's what I needed, because I felt his behavior was so reprehensible. I needed him to suffer cruelly, and to end the book in a way that would mean he would suffer for the rest of his life. So, yeah, anyway, Project DC is really a happy book, you guys. Okay, I'm going to go into the comments to see. I don't know if people have been answering or not. Okay, they have been. Also, everybody's muted. I don't understand why.
Sorry,
Someone's crying.
Oh, okay.
So unless you want to hear miscellaneous dog crying in the background,
that's okay. Mullen says, I love that the only one bed trope is getting its moment in regular fiction. Also, did include it in my Space Princess project. LOL. Q1 says, Mullen, it says, I can't actually tell you about the fanfic that has stayed in my head for years because it didn't stay in my mind for being good. It stayed in my mind for being weird and sort of traumatizing. Oh no. But like a car crash, you can't stop watching or reading. Yeah, I get that.
Like the Harry Potter getting pregnant in 6th year by Voldemort.
Yeah. Lula says, I don't remember the name of it, but it's a Care Bears fan fiction based on an older Care Bears series. In one scene, this one girl got attacked by the villain, No Heart, and got pretty badly hurt. I like fan fictions meant for teens and adults based on children's shows. Oh, that is interesting. That is interesting. Gay says, none of my tropes are guilty pleasures. I'm not Catholic. But I do tend to gravitate towards more stories where it's about healing from something or just exploring trauma, and then they have sex in a nasty way.
Fuck nasty.
That's great phrasing. I'm going to steal that.
Also, I have many fanfics that have stayed in my mind, so if y'all want specifics, I can give you some. I mean, I did specifically ask for specifics. Galen is scared just hearing about Steegs. Mullen says, fun fact, guilty pleasure in French is péché mignon, which means cute sin. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Maybe péché mignon. C'est la vie says, I do remember a High School Musical fic that was mafia fic. Very well written and crafted for what it was at the time, mid to late 2000s.
I want to read that.
Jessica loves writing forced proximity and found family. I eat it up. Also, breakups again, though. I'm such a bad reader that I couldn't tell you any of the fanfics I've read. That's fair. Unless I'm staring at it. Again, fair. I love enemies to lovers, but like actual enemies has to include a minimum 2.5 attempts on each other's life. When you first commented this and I saw it in my periphery, I thought you said 25 attempts on each other's lives. So extreme. And also they're so bad at killing each other. This is my hot take. I cannot stand enemies to lovers because I don't like it when people are mean to each other. And I especially don't like it when people who are meant to be together are mean to each other. It gives me the biggest ick, uncomfortable ick. I am a like, I don't know how to phrase this.
Your friends to lovers coded.
But that's not
Oh.
even what it is. Like, it doesn't need to be friends to lovers. I just need the male character to have never had a negative thought about the female character in his life. That's my thing. Like, they could be strangers initially, and the female main character can have
Think bad about the man.
have reservations, but like okay, Pride and Prejudice, everybody reads Pride and Prejudice as enemies to lovers. Y'all need to reread that story because Mr. Darcy is down bad page 1. Elizabeth is over at Netherfield taking care of Jane and thinking in her head how annoying Mr. Darcy is, and he's literally watching her captivated, and he's like, I'm in real danger of falling in love with this woman. And like, all of his negative thoughts aren't really about her, they're about her situation. It's like, he's like, good thing she doesn't have good connections because otherwise I'd be marrying her. And then eventually he's like, I'm so obsessed with her, I don't even care that she's got bad connections, I'm gonna marry you. And she's like, hold that thought.
You just insulted my family, my lineage, my home, my house, my dogs. Like, how dare you think I'm gonna marry you?
Yes. So that is as close to enemies to lovers as I can get, where like the woman is very reserved about the man, and the man has like situational reservations about the woman, but I cannot have, I don't know if it's like a personal anxiety thing, but I cannot have a man be having negative thoughts about a woman at any point. Except, okay, I will say this. I read a romance novel last year, and it was called The Earl I Ruined, for anybody who cares. And the setup is that this girl, who's like the belle of London, right? She's the daughter and now sister of a duke, and well respected, well loved. She's very much like an Emma Woodhouse type character, a little nosy, very sociable, very beautiful, like everything like that, and friendly, but also a bit of a troublemaker. And her brother, I think, has a friend who is an earl who is madly in love with her, but his family had been like financially ruined when he was younger, and so he spent years clawing his way back financially so that way he can build up enough of a fortune to earn her hand in marriage that he's gonna like ask her to marry him. But she considers him to be very boring and prim, and she's like not interested in him at all. And she hears, I forget exactly what happened, so I'm saying this a little bit wrong, but she hears like a nasty rumor about him, and she's worried that he's gonna like, oh, that's right. Okay, well, I don't want to give too much away, but basically she hears something bad about him, and in order to protect the women of London, she writes an anonymous article in the newspaper that basically accuses him of going to whorehouses and like taking it up the butt, basically. Like, that's so like extreme. But, like,
sounds very homophobic.
No, it's like not. It's I don't know, whatever, but not whatever, but that can be like analyzed, but that's not how I took it. It was more of just like she ruins him, and she never like mentions him by name, but everybody figures out it's him, and so then he is justifiably very upset with her, right? And even though he still loves her, he's a little bit in a I don't want to see you again, and she is horrified and like just like really upset with herself because she actually, I think what it was is she was distributing this privately among her friends, like this little pamphlet, and one of her friends published it, right? So she had not intended for it to be published to the wider London audience. And so she makes this whole plan to like restore his reputation. I think that is the only instance in which I'm okay with in fiction with a man having negative thoughts about a woman in which he has loved her before and she has disappointed him somehow, and so he's like recovering from that, but at all through it in the underling he still is in love with her. I need that certainty to feel calm within a story. So, and you can psychoanalyze that all you want.
I don't think we
we
have
already
to
have.
because the writing is
We
on the
already-
wall.
It's obvious, babe.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, okay. I will finally read this out loud. Gay says, I read fics with weird kinks to see what's up. The candy gore erotic cannibalism takes the cake. What does this even mean?
You know what? I'm so glad I don't understand what this is saying. I've never been more happy to be illiterate.
Candy
I know what all these words mean separately. What they mean together, I would rather not consider. Also, what fandom is that in? What fandom is that a thing?
Is this across fandoms? Is this like a thing that can be applied? Like, because candy gore, like when
What's candy gore?
it's like erotic cannibalism candy.
That's implying that the main characters are pieces of candy, right?
That's right. That's how I'm reading.
Is this Sour Patch Kids fan fiction?
That is how I'm reading this. Where, like, in the way that we found McDonald's fan fiction, there is a Mars company product fan fiction with like.
Oh my god, is it M&M's? It's M&M's,
Right.
isn't it?
It's like
Oh my god, M&M's.
Right?
Yeah. That green one the green one has no right being that hot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, gays, I was not judging you. I was just shook. You did present me with the weirdest shit. That is true. Lula says, I like stories where they are in love with each other but won't admit it because they think they hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have a favorite trope, but I absolutely love canon divergent fanfics where one small change in canon has a gigantic butterfly effect on the whole story. Ooh, I love this too. That is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like a what if situation. I enjoy that a lot. Mullen says, I'm also a sucker for main male character falls first and hardest, but female main character thinks he hates her for some reason and keeps apologizing for the forced proximity, but he's all, I'm clenching my teeth so I don't kiss you. Yeah. Yeah. Same. Neon Moon says, I've recently been into disaster bisexuals meet their polyamorous cluster of soulmates with sexy results.
Neon Moon, are you talking about Sense8? Because that's, if you haven't seen Sense8 and that's not what you're talking about, boy, do I have a show for you.
Yeah. Gaze is like, I know AO3 like the back of my hand. I'm excited to see if Katie can confirm or deny that. Gaze
I found it, so it does still exist on AO3.
Okay.
Has not told me. Oh, actually, there is. Sorry. Wow, I just have to look at my Discord.
While you're doing that, let us know. Moment of truth.
No, actually, the fact there is another one.
That is amazing.
Wow, I am.
That's amazing.
Is it the same like pairing though?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know, it is not this one because this one was published in 2021 and I haven't read Honky fanfic in
years,
way more years than that.
Yeah.
So no. But I might have to read this though because if that's what you thought it was, maybe I'll like it.
Oh my gosh, I'm predicting it now. This fanfiction gets Katie back into her.
No. No, I refuse.
You can deny it all you want, but fate will take its course. Lula says, my favorite trope right now in anime is basically normal person has to acquire powers and fight monster and eventually take on the big bad evil guy and doesn't want any part in it. Yeah, that's a good one. Jessica says, just got to pull out all the strange answers when it comes to fanfic. I mean, this is the depths of the internet. You know, everything is strange here. Mullen says, in case anyone is too young to remember it, it was the genie who got celebrities you were thinking of by asking you questions. I mean, it wouldn't even be celebrities. It could ask, you could get it to answer almost anything. It was amazing. It was amazing. I like to think I don't have guilty pleasure tropes, but I will keep my weird interest close to the vest. That means you're guilty about it. So I'm pretty into the SPN fandom, but I can't say I've ever read an SPN fic at all. That's interesting. Huh. I can't get past the mechanics of how they're pregnant.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's called suspension of disbelief for a reason.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
Paul says, I think I'm more like that too, Walls, as opposed to the tropes where the guy's an alpha hole and orders her around, doesn't apologize for being a dick, can't stand those. Yeah, I just love a good grovel. Damon never really apologized for anything, and that's on the writers. Everyone deserved an apology from that man. How can he be redeemed if he never had to repent? Literally, aside from all the murders, I mean, just inherently, to me, that is disqualifying. All the murders, aside from that, of innocent people, I should say. You know, I've been into some anti-heroes who've been like Dexter vibes where they're killing, they're vigilantes basically. And I'm like, oh, it's morally gray, but I can, that can be titillating, to use an uncomfortable word. But Damon kills innocents all the time. But aside from all that, he is literally like, his whole thing with Caroline in season 1 is so non-consensual, and she is a teenager. It is insane. It is insane. And I know that is not a new point or a hot take, but like the fact that he gets a happy ending without having that be addressed and acknowledged, like I'm incoherent over it. Okay, says also, I deeply adore the old man, young woman. Okay. Little May, December. I don't know why, but something about her having all the control in the relationship and getting that.
Say it, Wallace.
Sorry, I am now realizing that you're considering old as I'm like way older than I was thinking. Because, like, for a woman to have, like, oh, okay. Anyway.
So red.
Oh my god. Thank you for sharing your deepest thoughts with us, gays. Really appreciate it. Actually, you know what's crazy is that I don't even think this is gays' deepest thoughts. I think we haven't even approached.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah. Jessica says, confession, my story, A Glittering Cage, love that title, by the way, was originally supposed to be a Has-Been Hotel fanfic, but I turned it into original instead. Yeah. Gay says, that's like the one person's writing tips and saying something like, characters are irredeemable if they have killed over 10,000 people. Like, okay, I'm going to make them kill 9,900 people instead then. LOL. Yeah. Preach, Wallace. I don't like enemies to lovers either. Like, both parties need some self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good competitors to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
That I can get behind.
I can do that.
I only like enemies to lovers if the reason that they hate each other is not because they actually hate each other, but like, because also I always think of Matthias and Nina from Six of Crows.
Sure, yeah.
They dislike each other because they have been taught certain things about the other. Mm-hmm. But when they get to know each other, I think someone said this later too, when they get to know each other and they actually learn about each other as people, that's when they like each other. I think if they hate each other as people and then they fall in love, it doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. Y'all know I love a Rivals to Lovers too, as someone who's literally has a Rivals to Lovers.
Bless you.
Bless you. Bless you.
Gesundheit.
Sorry.
Did you find your sneakers?
They're over on my kitchen table. Mullen says, someone said that Pride and Prejudice has the typical roles reversed. Elizabeth is the bad boy, cool jock in school, and Darcy is the love struck friend. That's funny. I can see that. Mm-hmm. This might be the exception that proves the rule for me because I love this pairing. It's from Katie with the I don't know what you're talking about shrug. It is from Parks and Rec. It is so freaking adorable. But here's the thing, like, this is not enemies. This is rivals, and Leslie is definitely the more aggressive one, whereas Ben is very cool-headed, and I think he actually kind of appreciates her passion when she's so frustrated with him because he's coming in and shutting down the government and she's so into government that she takes it. Anyway.
Be the Leslie Knope of whatever you do.
I love that show so much.
That is so funny to me. Like, not knowing anything about that show. I don't even know what show it's from. But that is so funny coming from you as someone who is anti-government.
Look. Just because
a woman can be as contrary as she would like.
Also, I'm not saying it's
nothing.
I'm not anti-government. I'm just anti
establishment.
That's a government, babe.
I am anti someone imposing social rules based off of personal moral belief to a wider population that does not all inherently agree to that moral system.
Is that not a government?
That's what I'm saying. Like, but no, because a government,
therefore anti-government.
Because a government can be a small government, right? Can be there to just ensure that like there's not anarchy, because I'm not pro-anarchy. Anyway, we don't need to get into a political discussion right now. It's fine.
I just wanted to point it out. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. Jessica says, I did have a toxic relationship fic that I wrote where they were established already, but it was not great. One was more dramatic and violent, so they broke up and learned to be better before getting back together. I feel like I might appreciate that. I have heard of Homestuck, but I do not know Homestuck. I like the rivals, enemies to lovers, where they don't actually know each other, but as they get to know each other, they are forced to respect each other, and then from that respect, deeper feelings start. I think I'm more on Steeg's level with Forbidden Love, where like if I'm gonna do enemies to lovers, it's because they are like they're societally enemies, but even upon first meeting, there is not an enemy dynamic between them, and instead the enemy is society. Yeah, Gaze is shook that they did not guess right. You know what?
Did they get it the second time though, Katie? So there's a third one?
How about the third? Me about Damon.
I really thought it would be. I really thought it was gonna be it, and I was like, nope.
Me about Klaus. What murders? Me about Elijah. No. No. Elijah is so annoying to me because
I didn't really like him.
There is this scene in the originals that I will never get over, and it is literally okay. He's fighting with a recently turned female vampire, and she's like, you know, they're sparring, and he's like, I'm too much of a feminist to say that you punch like a girl, okay? And this I had such an issue with the originals for this, right? Because all of the characters, all these vampires were so like socially aware, you know, they were so like, oh, women are powerful too, and oh, like all these things, right? And yet several episodes before that, in previous seasons, Elijah and Klaus are literally drinking blood from a college student, a female college student, and then they just dump her body on the floor. They just leave her body there. And like Rebecca comes in and she's like, what is this? And they were like, basically like, oh, it's our co-ed for breakfast. Like that, there's nothing feminist about that because in the Vampire Diaries universe, vampires canonically do not have to kill people in order to feed. So I just like, to me, that is always, especially in modern storytelling, that always grinds my gears when they're like, this man may be a murderer, but God forbid he's sexist. You know, it's like, it blows me away every time that like, anyway. Mom, I have no idea what you walked into, what we were saying, but I apologize.
Can I might
have been. Hi, Lindsay. Yeah. Never ending well of insanity. That's fair. Sometimes even I don't know how far it goes. It's like, it's fun, like spelunking or whatever that's called. I already made myself tea. I have a whole teapot here and I've been soothing my throat with it as we've gone on. Katie, may you please check your Discord once more? And your answer is that not correct again?
Not correct.
Damn.
Shocking how many accidental baby acquisition hockey fanfics there are.
It is incredible. Malin, never watched the originals, just love the Vampire Diaries. Elijah, give me a man in a Chris suit who is slightly terrifying. Need it. I mean, yeah, that is not wrong. Sailor V says, I only recognize the Vampire Diaries, Elijah.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Next script. Right? Yeah. Did I ask? Because we asked a question and then now we're sprinting.
Yeah. Were there's only one more question, or are there two questions? Or
technically two. But she's not feeling great, so we'll see. We're gonna see what we can get through. This next sprint is gonna be half an hour long.
Can you put up the second question?
Yeah, I can put up the second question for people to look at while we sprint.
Ooh, cute. I love this timer.
Once again, it's Laura. My next question for people. Oh, sorry, Grape, you're getting.
It's okay.
I'm scared. What is your favorite example of a fanfic turn?
Don't do that.
I didn't do that either. I don't know who that was.
I know Steve did it.
What is your favorite example of a fanfic turned original published work? Do you have any thoughts about the recent trend of this in publishing? All right. Happy sprinting. That was cozy. Whoop. Hey, stop backseat. Who? Okay. Sieg, how did you do? And you're muted. Everybody's muted. Just FYI.
I did what I set out to do, which was to watch YouTube for 25 minutes.
Okay. Katie.
Do with the other 5. It was a 30 minutes frame.
I had a poo.
Okay. Sounds good. I fed the dogs or fed just Boo because Bear was already fed. Made some rice, and then now I'm just working on my outlining and organizing my scrippy file.
Nice. Tavisha?
She says, I'm writing an email. Give me a minute.
Oh, okay. My bad.
What'd you do this month?
I was rewatching old videos for a purpose. So,
okay.
Like Steve, I was also watching YouTube, but I was watching myself on YouTube because, every so often we love to have ourselves a narcissistic kind of day. So.
Yes, we love it.
All right. I'm thinking this is where the answers start. Mullen says, I literally had a long chat about this question with Hudson. By the way, the question is, what is your favorite example of a fanfic turned original published work? Do you have any thoughts about the recent trend of this in publishing? And Mullen says, I recently reread a sci-fi novel I loved and finally realized it was a super obvious Raylo and it upset me. I liked it better before realizing it. Now I can't stop picturing the actors instead of whoever my brain had conjured. Basically, I have no issues with it as long as it's not obvious. C'est la vie says, I don't hate the idea of labor being recognized and published traditionally. I do not like that writers essentially need a rebuilt audience to get published. I don't know if I fully agree here because I do think that there is something about the preservation of the rights of the original author and that if this is what you're saying, I don't think people should just be able to publish work set in the same world of a work that is not public domain because
I don't think you can. I think you really do have to file the sale numbers off or else you're going to get sued.
Unless some that is one thing where I'm sort of I don't know if this would be allowed, but if I was ever lucky enough to have any of my work get published and become popular enough that fan fiction based off of it was popular, I would love to do partnerships with those authors and be like having a licensing agreement just so that way they can they can use the world if they want to tell the story that they want to tell, but there's still recognition of the fact that it is work, but from a perspective of the author of the fanfic getting to retain their rights, it makes more sense being able to just file the serial numbers off because then you get to fully maintain the rights and you don't need to do any sort of kick over to the author of the original work.
And it's not a legal march if you file the serial numbers off, you get you're entirely own original work.
Yeah. Oh, we already answered that. There's just no guaranteed quality just because it was a fan fiction previously. Yeah, but quality is so subjective, right?
I don't know. I feel like a certain level of quality is very objective. Like grammar, for example.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree.
You don't have to agree.
You can have technical, right? From a technical standpoint, there's a list of agreed upon rules. And if something follows those agreed upon rules, it is technically correct according to those rules. But in terms of actual quality, there are people who read After and it's their favorite book of all time, right? And so
and I don't trust those people.
I think that's really dismissive, I think it's...
Have you read After?
Nope. I have not.
That guy rests my case.
I think it's dismissive. Neil Moon says, asked a lot. / Naomi Novik is the queen of this. You don't even know how excited when I realized the Temraire series was written by one of my fave fic authors ever. Oh, I see. Naomi Novik that's the Astala. I'm assuming it's her online name.
Isn't Naomi Novak one of the people who founded
Yes. Gooped and gagged.
Oh, wow.
I love her. Mm-hmm.
You know that feeling when you're reading fic and thinking to yourself, this is better than any novel I paid for this year. I'm glad some FX are crossing into publishing pond. Yeah. What like gets me so intrigued is the idea that a lot of AO3 work is work by published writers who are also writing fan fiction. Like when I used to watch TikToks, I'd get authors being like, yeah, I have a fan fiction account. No, I can't talk about it because like it's, I just think that's so interesting. TLDR, I'd love to rework my old removed fics to be original and open to wide publication, but ideally only my fandom friends would recognize the ship it's based on. I see. Miranda, we're still live because it's a sprint in the Shoptalk and I am incapable of keeping up with comments.
But also in terms of filing the serial numbers off, because the fics I write usually contain like some element or pun or joke from the original work that doesn't translate into other pairings. So I feel like that could be a slippery slope. Like one of my favorite fics that I've ever done is so ingrained in the fandom. Like there's so many Easter eggs and so many things that is easily recognized. So to change all of it would just be, why not just write a different story then? Does that make sense?
I think that's why I'm going to be so interested to see how Manacled is received after, because apparently the author has completely done a lot of work to divorce it from the Harry Potter universe. But I'm just going to be interested to see if it actually does hold, because it is a lot of work to file the serial numbers off, and I didn't even really have many serial numbers to file off. I'm not writing in a fandom that has a story. It was just characters that I was or people that I was making into characters. And so it was very easy to file serial numbers. But as someone who has written a fanfic, I wrote a Marvel fanfic that was a soulmate AU that was basically identical to the source material. I was just rewriting it with adding extra scenes with the context of the soulmates. I don't know how I would even begin to file the serial numbers off of that and make it anywhere close to what my intention with it was, because it's so entrenched in the context of the show that I was writing about.
But again, I don't think those are the kind of stories, I don't think those are I could be totally wrong here, but I don't think those are the kind of fan fictions that move into traditional publishing. I really feel
Hurricane Wars by, I forget her name, I'm so sorry, but it was a Star Wars fan fiction about Reylo, and it was apparently very Reylo heavy, Star Wars world heavy.
Is that the book we're talking about, Mullen? Hurricane Wars?
I think it is. But is it where it actually has scenes from Star Wars and it's not
I don't know.
because that's the thing about Manacled, right? Is yes, it's set in the Harry Potter universe, but there are no, as someone who tried to read it and gave up halfway through, I think there are no scenes that are a direct copy paste new flavor from the original book series. It's all the original characters, but it's all theoretically going into stuff that happened that didn't happen in the books, right? That either happened after the books or happened because the books went in a different direction. I think it's Order of the Phoenix Divergent is where the fic diverges in canon. So I don't know how you would do something where it's because the only way I think what you're saying works is when it's the story retold but in a different AU, a la 50 Shades of Grey, because you can identify the parts of that are Twilight, the scene where this happens is the Port Angeles scene in Twilight, the scene where this happens is the blood typing scene in Twilight, but because it's set in a different universe, it's analogous, but it's not a copy paste. So I don't know.
It's interesting.
Gaze says, and this was something I wanted to talk about, was the trend's not really recent. I do love Hurricane Wars and You Again a lot. It's been a rough year for me, so I do tend to stick to familiar, and these were already good picks. That's fair. I agree. This isn't recent. Paradise Found.
What is You Again? I don't know.
Paradise Lost. Paradise Found is a chocolate short story I wrote. Paradise Lost. But like I think this is actually so common. I would love someone to do their whole dissertation for like their literature PhD on proving that old classics were actually, or like not proving, but arguing that old classics were actually fan fictions and derived from earlier material. Because you cannot tell me that, and I'm just going by the stereotypes, the number breakdowns here, but you cannot tell me that teenage girls haven't always been teenage girls, you know? You cannot tell me that girly pops in the 1850s weren't scribbling at their desk about Mr. Darcy. Like, you just can't. I refuse to believe it. And you can't tell me that at a certain point, one of them was like, hey, this is actually kind of fire. Let me, you know?
Let me rework it and make it into something else.
Exactly. So no, that's kind of my thesis, is that I say it's a recent trend in publishing, but I actually don't believe that it is. I just think people are saying the quiet part out loud. Gay says, I also hate the way people harp on it about it because the writers for ship. Wait, hold on. I need to start over. Gay says, I also hate the way people harp on about it because writers for a ship they don't like are suddenly doing it. I'm not a hateful person, but I bet they wouldn't care if their faves were getting a published deal, and it's not like all the books are trash. Like, statistically, the amount of published fanfic books are not going to be all good, just like literally any other work, traditionally published or not. Anyway, I don't care. I want to just enjoy my stuff, and if I learn it's a fanfic reworked, then hey, more power to the writer. Sorry for the long response. I have opinions, and also don't value my time on this earth enough to not look at it. Colin says, read Gay's comment. I agree the trend isn't recent, but I guess the main difference is nowadays it's known, while for ages authors would hide the fact it wouldn't be a published fic turned book. It'd be them liking it, pairing from another work and just writing their own version, like a fanfic in their heads turned original work. That's fair. That's like me with Project EC. It was all in my head initially, which, yeah, maybe that is a more realistic idea of what happened, was they had a certain thing in their head, but then instead of writing it down as the original characters, they made their own story. Neon said, yeah, it used to be treated like a deep, dark secret that would get you shamed out of the publishing world, but I don't think readers ever cared as much as the big houses. Ugh, if that is not just the statement of reality. Like, I feel like as readers, as a population, we ask for so much, and the big houses are like, I don't know, publishing can be so entrenched in its tradition that it's not actually paying attention to what the consumer wants. But again, she has no idea what she's talking about. It's all just based off vibes. Mom says, like, the way it was talked about when it comes to Cassandra Clare publishing Draco Ginny fanfic is so different from today's reactions and advertising of this is another Raylo fic. To be fair, I have, and this is my own personal experience, I've never heard the, like, side-eye being about Draco Ginny. The side-eye was, for me, and from the people I've been talking about, was always the fact that it was Ron Ginny. That's, you know what I mean?
She filed the serial numbers off of the serial numbers. Because the Draco Ginny was originally Ron Ginny, so she filed that off, and it became Draco Ginny, and then it became Shadowhunters.
Got it.
So
okay.
The incest is the problem on that one.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite example, but of all the examples I know of or have read, I think it's fine. I don't functionally see it as any different from a retelling or something inspired by mythology. Yeah. Right? Isn't that the thing? It's like there are only 20 original stories, and everything is an adaptation of that. Yep. Like, what are fairy tale retellings if not just fairy tale fanfics? Of course, absolutely. Yep. Hold on. I will say, I do think there is a nuanced discussion to be had about the idea of working on something that's in the public domain and that it's been around for so long versus profiteering off of somebody else's who's like currently alive, gaining profit off of like building on their work and profiting off of it. You know, I tend to lean towards being pro people being allowed to file serial numbers off and doing that and stuff like that. I'm pro that, but I do understand that there is a nuanced discussion there, right? Because like E.L. James became massively wealthy because Stephanie Meyer wrote Twilight, you know?
But did not Stephanie Meyer become massively wealthy because she wrote a fanfic from
Pride and Prejudice?
Pride and Prejudice.
But again, that's what I'm saying is that Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen had been dead for 200 years. it's in the public domain. Like there's just different legality behind adapting that kind of work, you know? So I'm pro fanfic writers. I am pro fanfic writers, but I recognize that there is a nuance there.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Stephanie had not made any money off of Twilight and then E.L. James went on to make millions, I would, I'd feel some type of way. But like they both made millions of dollars, so I feel no type of way.
Right. That's
we wouldn't know that E.L. James did the fanfic off of Twilight if Twilight wasn't famous. So like, and we all wouldn't see that E.L. James's work is Twilight fan fiction because none of us would know about Twilight. So then it's just this, she's taking these concepts that are very popular. Because if you break down any book into its spare parts, like it can look like anything else. And so like, yeah, E.L. James wrote a fan fiction based on Twilight, but like, it's also not Twilight. Like, I feel like if it becomes, if it veers off away from the source material so much, it then basically does become original.
Sorry. Sailor B says, hard agree to a lot of the above. Even talking about reading fic, being in the fandom was a secret thing. You didn't broadcast it, especially in the days of Anne Rice.
Anne Rice.
True. Oh, Anne Rice.
What a basket of cracked eggs.
Mom says, I just learned the Lunar Chronicles was originally inspired by her old Sailor Moon fanfic, and she just kept some of the stories on fanfiction.net, which is pretty cool. Again, love it when the work becomes original just from sheer creativity and you can't tell the inspiration anymore. Don't like it so much when you can. I get it. Thread needle. Why does this remind me of the Yanni thing? That's because it's Green Needle or Yanni. Or is it Green Needle Brainstorm? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
I have literally no idea.
Laurel and Yanni.
Laurel and Yanni, and then there's Green Needle and Brainstorm.
I didn't know.
What are any of these things?
Okay, so it's like
where if you hear it a certain way.
Yeah, it's like an audio distortion where
audio
clip of something going brainstorm. But if you think to yourself Green Needle, it sounds like it's going Green Needle. So it's but Thread Needle is my anyway, that was such a tangent. Thread Needle is my favorite fanfic turned original published work. It really isn't a fanfic, but was posted on one of the fanfic sites as an OG work. And I don't mind the trend. I know everybody always talks about fanfiction.net. You know what doesn't get talked about? Fiction Press, which is the original that was. And I'm pretty sure fanfiction was a offshoot, or maybe I forget, chicken and egg. I forget which one came first, but yeah, just interesting. Nice. Kelly got an email fired off and watched YouTube. Lula worked on itemizing receipts. I have 11 left to go. You got this. That is such a task to have accomplished. Wrote about 500 words and fast checked some MCU details. I gave up packing for the day and I've started making dinner. Are you moving? What doing? Where are you going?
Maybe the packing heat.
Oh, fair. Mom said, I'm doing my daily walk. I got like half a road more than usual before my shin burned. Oh, yeah. Do you have shin splints? Sorry, that's a really personal question. HIPAA violation. Anyway.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it?
She collected contact info for the school tour. I'm trying to make happen. In 30 minutes, I got 10 done. Why is that blah? That sounds good. I don't know. That sounds like a lot. That's one every 3 minutes. That feels decent. Yeah, intellectual property owners do have rights. Absolutely. You've never read such a story. Are you sure? Probably not. Gay says, I read after as it was updating on Wattpad because my sister wanted to talk about it. And I was like, ugh, why the hell not? It was so bad. Well, I believe you. It was bad to you, but not to your sister. Maybe it was to your sister. Maybe your sister was like, this is trash. Let's read it together. But,
that's rude of her if she made you read after.
That's why I say it's subjective. Mom says, even technical quality is a little subjective because grammar rules change over time as do the styles of a time. Exactly. The only fanfic term published project was 50 Shades, and I didn't enjoy it. Lol. I'm fine with the concept, but if I figure it out, it might keep me from reading if I don't like the implied pair. I think that's fair. I once read an old paranormal romance that so obviously had the main male character Spike from Buffy. It was just too obvious. Blonde vampire with a long black trench and a British accent. That's funny. I mean, yeah. But also it jumps off so early off into a whole new thing that's like court politics and Star Wars, which was really appealing to me. Is this the Hurricane
Wars?
Wow, it's literally a Star Wars fanfic and it's called Hurricane Wars. Sorry. Anyway. The sci-fi book, I should really have noticed the guy's name is Kyrion. He dubbed the Dark Prince of the Galaxy. He has telekinetic powers and a storm sword that is basically magic based. Yes, I'm an idiot not to have noticed first. You're not an idiot. Have a great rest of the day. I've got to get my butt off and get my errands done. You are long gone. That was 9 minutes ago. Dante's Inferno, yeah, is a Bible fanfic, and I'll die on this hill. You don't even need to die on this hill. It is so clearly exactly that.
Obvious.
It's like clearly exactly that. I'm envisioning, I thought for some reason this was saying Catherine Medici, and I was like, go off, history queen. Okay.
Okay, with the visual of like Catherine Medici exchanging fanfics with the besties, I'm living.
Iconic. I want that.
Lula says, I would like to see something who knows a lot about the Bible, such as a pastor, write a biblically accurate Bible fanfiction, or maybe a Bible AU fanfiction. Oh wow. What is the Matrix if not Bible AU fanfiction? What is half the movies that come out in the United States if not Bible AU fanfiction? Like, I'm pretty sure there are college courses that are all just about that, like film and the Jesus narrative.
Yep.
College class 101.
Is that not The Chosen One? I mean, once again, you can boil it down.
But I think The Chosen One came before Jesus, though.
You're lost.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's how old these story things are. Like, you can literally break down every single story, and if you look at Jesus, The Chosen One.
Oh wow, Fiction Press came second for original stories. I always worried about plagiarism there, so never really used it. That's fair, but also kind of makes me sad, but I understand. If I ever write a popular series, it wouldn't be public domain, but I would allow most things like fan merch and wouldn't send cease and desist. The problem is, Lula,
you don't get to say.
Well, and here's my thing. I love saying things like I'm an authority and actually having no training. I'm pretty sure, just based like reading off articles of the way Taylor Swift like used to vehemently defend her copyright, like even for Etsy sellers and stuff, people would give her a lot of hate. But the thing is that I think in copyright law, you have to show active and consistent defense of your copyright in order to protect it. So if you let Etsy sellers sell famous quotes and stuff from your books and you don't like go after it, I'm pretty sure then Hot Topic or something could use that as an excuse to be like, we can use it too. I think that's a thing. So just FYI, it's sort of like when you're like, oh, I'm not going to monetize my YouTube channel, and then YouTube puts ads on your YouTube channel for YouTube to benefit, and you're like, well, hold on.
I think if you are like interested, like, no, you want other artists to like take your work and like make like merch and stuff with it, like obviously there's no law against you working with them and like giving them specifically like getting it written that they have permission to use it and only they can use this thing for merch.
But I do
Speaking of collabs, I just got to get this thought on my brain. Yeah. I heard a mashup today of Texas Hold'em and Franklin the Turtle.
What?
Did that ever air in the United States? Franklin is like a little turtle.
Yeah.
But wait, you said crabs? Where do crabs come in?
No, Texas Hold'em.
You said speaking of blank. What was the blank? Crabs? I heard crabs.
Speaking of mashups.
Collabs.
Yeah.
Crabs.
Oh my.
That song just it has me in a tightrope right now. Anyway,
I gotta look this up. Sorry, can you send me that?
It was a TikTok. I think I saved it. I'll send it your way. Okay. But it slaps so hard, and the way those songs just basically are the same. I can't. Beyonce, you've done it again. Keep raising the bar for all women.
I'm wrestling the topic back because I want to end the stream soon because my food is almost here. Mon says, I don't remember Fiction Press. It may not have been as known in the French-speaking fanfic circles, but fanfiction.net had a whole ass French-speaking community. That's fair. Jessica, got lunch made. Fantastic. I hope it's delicious. My lunch is about to arrive. Froggy says, I'm moving back to France at the end of the week after 1 year in Italy. Oh my gosh, best of luck with your move and all your packing. moving binder is my favorite thing. Lula Reed says, I probably won't ever write this, but I got an idea for a story involving a place called French Press. Oh, there would be a French bookshop and publisher that also has cafe. I like the pun. That's super cute. And I like this. I do not have the shin thing you asked about. I was just mindly bedridden because of migraine flare-ups and so like very out of shape. Okay, that's fair. Lindsay, this is deep lore. I didn't know this. Over Your Garden Wall is a Dante's Inferno retelling boiled time for kids and weird adults like me. I loved that show. Really liked that show, and I did not know that. Also, I found Katie's fic. To quote Katie, 3rd time's the charm. Can you confirm, Catherine, that she did?
I did. Yeah. And also, for everyone who is not here, this is not a fic that I wrote. It was a fic that I mentioned earlier in the stream.
Right.
Not something I made, but Gaze did finally find 3rd time's the charm. Took 3 times to find the right fic of the accidental baby acquisition.
That would be all 3 of them. Yeah. I want to know the common denominator.
Okay. Olivia Blake talked about this in a YouTube video about subscription boxes using inspiration for merch, not asking for permission, but using direct lines. It's a very murky overstepping. Yep. Wait, is every Portal Fantasy a fanfic of Dante's Inferno? I don't know. That's interesting.
Yes, probably. Kind of.
All right. Any final words?
Yes. I want to know what the 3rd question is. Can you put it up? And if everyone is inclined, go into the Discord in the Fanfic February section and answer the 3rd question. Because this was a very interesting conversation.
Thank you. Yes, the 3rd question was, how do you approach writing fan fiction and how does that differ from your approach to writing original characters / world? All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we will see you all
Au revoir.
next Wednesday. Bye.
Accountability. And remember, you can write a fanfic about Wallace being in High School Musical extra.